I thought this movie would tell me how the West was fun, but instead, after watching it, I wish the West were done. Welcome back to another unfortunate case of movie soulmates, and this time we watched Adam Sandler's The Ridiculous Six. My name's SoulKeever, and with me today, as always, is my girlfriend Astrid, joining us via Skype because of the coronavirus business going on right now.
Hi, everybody. It's been like a month.
Yeah, dude. We haven't really seen each other in about a month and a half. About
a month and a half. Yep. It's nuts.
It's getting
weird.
Yeah, it's getting intense. So, here's how I feel about this movie right now. I've seen The Ridiculous Six 3 times. And I kind of wonder what it's going to be like if I watch it 3 more times, if I'm going to get more ridiculous or like really serious and just hateful.
Probably that one.
Yeah, probably. The first time I watched it, I did not like this movie. I thought it was bad. The second time I watched it, I hated it. That's when we watched it together online. And it was just god awful. I couldn't stand it. And then the third time I watched it by myself because I wanted to take down some notes and everything about stuff. And it turned out to not be as bad that time around. I think this movie is growing on me. Oh, that feels dirty.
Oh, like a wart.
Oh, yeah. Like a wart that just feels like home. A wart you can't burn or freeze off. Jesus. So, how do you feel about The Ridiculous Six?
I hate it. I hated it a lot more than the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I just judged it less harshly the first time, or if I straight up fell asleep and don't remember that. Genuinely not sure.
You see, Astrid likes to fall asleep during most of the movies that we watch at some point, and then I have to give her like a quick kick to the side to wake her up because I'm not going to suffer through this garbage alone. God help me.
I like to be cozy.
And I am not going to suffer alone. If I'm going to suffer, then you're going to suffer with me.
Okay, or you could pick fun bad movies so we don't go slowly insane.
I try to find fun bad ones, and then they decide to do a heel turn mid-watch and turn into the worst trash imaginable.
I'm going to come home one day and find you chewing on the floorboards like an insane person. Just chewing on the floorboards, smearing your poop on the walls, and then cooking it. Just straight up awful shit.
You know what's real funny is that I've been watching a lot of horror movies from 1989. I've been working my way backward, trying to watch every single horror movie from that year. And since this is 1989, there's a lot of bad ones. And watching so many bad movies in a row actually, I think, drove me a little crazy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Because he's talking to me and he's like, I got to lay off the horror movies. I think they're doing bad things to me. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, what did you say? Oh, God, what did you say? You're like, I think they're making me a worse person or something like that.
No, I said I think they're taking me to a dark place.
Yeah, that's what it was. They're taking me to a dark place. And, like, you've had some very dark things happen in your life. So for you to say that phrase was concerning. Like, what the hell were you watching that has rattled your psyche?
Oh my God. I think what it's a case of is that it was just one too many, because the last one I really watched before I decided to pack it in was this movie called Headhunter, which actually was not that bad of a movie. It had its moments where it was kind of but overall it wasn't a really, really bad movie or anything. I think it was just a combination of all those movies all together and so many of them being bad in a row that it was dealing several devastating blows to my psyche that I just said, I have to stop. I mentally and physically can't do this right now. If I don't stop, bad things might happen.
Yeah.
So let this be a warning to all the moviegoers out there. If bad movies are your thing, you gotta watch a few decent ones in between all the bad ones. It can't just be all rotten all the time, all absolute trash.
That's what I've been trying to say this whole time.
But my God, there's so much trash that I've been watching, and I just had to stop.
Yeah, you say you don't need to see all of it. That's not a burden any one man can bear.
Oh my God, right? Oh, the price I paid. It was too high. It should have been a bargain price. Instead, it was full price plus a little more. Should have gone to... I wanted to buy my bad movies in a big lot, and instead I bought them piecemeal.
Oh no. Instead of charging you an arm and a leg, they charged you a hemisphere.
Bisected. Yikes. Well, The Ridiculous Six is kind of a hit or miss movie, depending on some parts, because I did laugh during some parts. That's undeniable. So is it completely and utterly worthless? I don't think so. But is it bad? Definitely. What did you expect this movie was going to be going into it?
The first time I saw it?
Yeah, what'd you think?
Because I hadn't seen the Western, The Magnificent Seven. But I feel like I've seen that referenced on Cheers because they sing the theme song and then they like gallop off to go watch it because they always watch it together when it comes on. Right. I think it's that movie. But this was like I've seen Westerns. My dad likes Westerns. And this was not good. And I've seen Western parody. I've seen like Blazing Saddles, and I saw that probably younger than I should have. And this wasn't like that either. It was just weird. It was paced weird. I don't know. It had things in it that never connected to anything else. Like, I was expecting something more cohesive and that more concretely parodied particular things.
I was expecting it to be funnier, basically.
Yeah.
See, I'm used to watching movies like Happy Madison or Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison and even The Waterboy. And those movies were all pretty funny, I thought, even though they're not the best movies, but they'll make you laugh. And that's what I expected going into this. I expected to not get a good movie. I just expected to laugh a little bit, but I didn't laugh anywhere near as much as I thought I would with an Adam Sandler movie. I was expecting more stupid humor than I got. And there was a lot of stupid humor in this, and it wasn't even like good stupid humor. None of the jokes really had any good timing or anything. Only a couple of them really landed.
Yeah, this was like Jack and Jill bad.
Yeah, that's where we're at here. Jack and Jill bad. I don't know. Is it as bad as Jack and Jill? Is it? Because Jack and Jill was really bad.
It's really not. I shouldn't have said that. Now you're going to make me watch Jack and Jill to prove me wrong.
We might.
But it's closer to that than it is to his good movies. Because, like, my family, we're an Adam Sandler family. As terrible as it is to say that, we love us some Adam Sandler movies. We've got, like, The Waterboy is classic. I think my mom did Waterboy once for Halloween.
Oh, my God.
Like, it's hilarious. That movie's hilarious. Happy Gilmore, also hilarious. Probably my second favorite. And then maybe, like, Little Nicky. I don't know.
Yeah. I know what you're saying here.
Like, he's got got some funny ones.
Yeah.
Big Daddy was funny.
See, Big Daddy is a good movie. I like Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot from Adam Sandler. I know that his movies are not really good or anything, and as an actor, he doesn't exactly have a solid pedigree, but I still enjoy a few of his movies here and there because they're kind of funny sometimes. It's not smart humor or anything. They're all really juvenile, and the humor doesn't really have layers, but you still laugh, and that's what you go watch an Adam Sandler movie for. You don't watch to feel smart. You watch just to have a good time. That's what you get when you go see an Adam Sandler movie. But watching this, I didn't have a good time. Not that much.
Mm-hmm. The 51st Date, there's another good one.
Yeah. And he's even done some recently, like Murder Mystery with Jennifer Aniston, and I thought that was really good.
8 Crazy Nights is supposed to be good, too.
I have not seen that movie, not in its entirety. But I am willing to watch it, of course.
I haven't seen it. I've just seen good things about it.
Yeah. I don't know much about it. I think he just plays a whole bunch of absolutely ridiculous characters like he always does.
Yeah.
You know, he likes to pretend he's Michael Myers with all of his voices and impersonations.
Yeah. He is fun.
Even though...
I'd call him a poor man's Michael Myers, but I don't know that Michael Myers is A-list enough to call him a rich man's anything.
You know what? I think Michael Myers is more talented, but he really shat the bed with The Love Guru, and he shat the bed so hard that it completely ruined his career.
Yeah, has he done anything since then?
Not really. Not really.
It was too racist.
It was too much, yeah. It completely ruined his career. The only other thing he's done is maybe like a Shrek movie or two, and I think they're even rebooting Shrek with him now.
With him or without him?
Yeah, they're keeping him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if he produced it, then that means that he's trying to keep himself relevant.
Right.
Because then it's probably his idea, trying to be like, all right, I know I shat the bed with Love Guru. Let's get some of that sweet, sweet Shrek children's toys franchise money.
Oh, yeah. Now, let's keep in mind here, Michael Myers created Austin Powers, which was already a cultural phenomenon in its own right. And then...
Hilarious. I also saw that movie too young.
Oh, yeah. I loved Austin Powers. I loved it. Everybody loved Austin Powers. All 3 of the movies were pretty decent, to be perfectly honest.
Goldmember was so bad, my mom walked us out of the theater halfway through it.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It was one of the only, I think that might be the only movie I ever remember her making us leave the theater during.
Oh my God.
I was so offended.
Really?
Yes. And again, this is from, she let us watch the first 2 Austin Powers. Those were fine.
Well, then
Those had classy dick humor.
Oh, classy dick humor as opposed to the immature dick humor. I didn't realize dick jokes had denominations.
Yes. The spaceship dick humor, funny, because it was just spaced out. This one was just gold dicks in your face every 2 seconds. And she was like, what the hell?
Well, it was called Goldmember. What'd you think it was going to be?
I don't know.
He lost his dick in a smelting accident.
That's right. So I've never seen that movie the entire way through. I've only seen it up until one too many dick jokes happened and my mom walked us out.
That movie was funny.
Never did see the rest.
Movie was funny. The only thing that really got me is that the ladies just kept disappearing in between all the movies, like, Elizabeth Hurley from the first movie, and then what's her name from the second movie, and Beyonce was in the third movie.
Oh yeah, Beyonce. Can't believe that didn't ruin her career.
Why would it? It wasn't a crap movie.
It wasn't a good movie.
It was okay.
Goldmember, I saw enough of it to know that Goldmember was distinctly the worst of the Austin Powers movies.
Well, that's a given, but still, it wasn't that bad compared to some other stuff we've seen. Definitely not. And then Michael Myers did Shrek, and his career just kind of exploded. So the trajectory of Adam Sandler's career is a little more, I guess, low-key and not as culturally relevant as, say, Michael Myers was before his career crashed and burned. But Adam Sandler has persisted to this day because he has his own production company.
Wait a minute. I don't know that that's a fair statement. Wasn't he on Saturday Night Live?
They were both on Saturday Night Live.
Michael Myers was on Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
I did not know that.
What do you think Wayne's World is?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, with Dana Carvey. Or whatever the fuck his name is.
Don't forget, Wayne's World is the most successful SNL movie.
I didn't know that was SNL. That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
A lot of that shit start off as dumbass skits.
Hey, sometimes that's where you got to get your gig going, you know?
That never should have been full movies.
The only movie that was ever good that was SNL based had to have been 1, Wayne's World, and 2, The Blues Brothers.
Okay.
Blues Brothers was another SNL thing. What do you say we jump right into the ridiculous 6 here?
All right.
So the movie opens up with Steve Zahn as Clem, a general store owner. And Steve Zahn here is doing a fine job embarrassing himself for pay, dressed as this very racist anti-Native American shopkeeper with the laziest eye you've ever seen in your life. It looks like it's taking a nap at noon. It's so lazy.
Oh, yeah, it's so lazy you couldn't barely see all of the iris.
Yeah. It's very, very obviously Steve Zahn playing the most cartooned up version of himself he possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, this is the first character that we meet in the film and not White Knife, who comes shortly after.
Right.
Yeah, White Knife enters the store and he gets all of his flour and everything. And as soon as he exits the store, he runs into the Left Eye gang out there who is accosting his girlfriend for just existing, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we get the first taste of what White Knife can actually do, because we see that White Knife does all this weird Matrix-like kung fu ability that requires the use of a lot of CGI and a few stuntmen to pull off, because God knows Adam Sandler can't do it in his Cheeto munching couch potato physique way.
Ouch! What did Adam Sandler ever do to you? We can't all be triangles, SoulKeever.
Well, you know what? Adam Sandler's a 50-year-old man by this point, about. He's not exactly Zohan from Don't Mess with the Zohan. That was the movie where he got in the best shape of his life. Think about that for a second. He was in the best shape of his life during Zohan.
Yeah, I can't believe he got shredded for that ridiculous movie.
Yeah, that movie was terrible, and he got just phenomenal shape for that. But he's not exactly in phenomenal shape for this. He's letting CGI and stuntmen do the work for this one.
Ooh, we might have to do on an off month where, because you know how we do like holiday themes?
Yeah.
On an off month, we do an Adam Sandler theme.
Kill me.
Adam Sandler's least finest.
Oh my God. You really want to suffer through the worst of Adam Sandler?
Yes!
Well, I guess I can't complain too much, because the worst of Adam Sandler is still better than a lot of crap I've seen.
Still better than a lot of crap you picked, you mean? I pick fun ones when I can.
I pick soul-crushing, devastating monsters of movies.
Yeah, sometimes I'm wrong, but a lot of times I'm right, and the ones that I pick are fun.
Oh, Jesus. Just for reference here, for anyone who hasn't listened to our podcast before, the quality of movie that I've exposed myself to includes the likes of the movie Things from 1989 and also Las Vegas Bloodbath from the same year, 1989. So, yeah, got a real pedigree on my hands there.
Oh, yeah. You shouldn't be bragging about that. It's like going inside and proudly proclaiming that you've got shit on the bottom of not one, but both shoes.
Indeed. So ridiculous is White Knife's abilities that he even uses a carrot as a weapon and just lodges it in Clem's leg as he rides off into the sunset. Or is it the sunrise?
That kind of made me laugh. The carrot in his leg did get a laugh out of me.
Yeah, the fact that White Knife can turn anything into a weapon here is kind of funny. But at the same time, we also get a taste of how racist this movie is going to get.
Yes, yeah. Then they straight up, they call his abilities some mystical shit.
And they reference that several times during the movie, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of their line, just to kind of explain away his abilities. And, like, I feel like all the white people in the movie, it's kind of implied that, like, his abilities to them, like, that he gets them from being raised in his tribe. Was it an Apache tribe?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, within the tribe, nobody has those abilities. Right. They don't show that. And I feel like one of them calls it mystical shit.
What? Where is he even getting all this if none of them do it?
I don't know. His dad doesn't do it. His mom clearly doesn't do it because she died, because someone, like, shot her. And she didn't throw a knife through the bullet like he does. Like, damn.
You know what I thought about Adam Sandler's character here, Tommy?
Yeah.
/ White Knife. I thought that his mom was Native American, and that's why he went to live with the Native American tribe here, the Apaches. But I don't think that's actually the case. I think he just somehow shacked up with them.
No, yeah, it's that I think both of his parents were white. And then he was an orphan child, and I think they just found him and took him in. They took him in because he was an orphan and he wasn't being cared for in the town.
Okay. So this turns it away from being like a half Indian, half white guy type of movie to being a completely, totally white savior movie.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a real common trope, and it's not cool. But, like, I was going to give it the benefit of a doubt on his character being racist through the first scene, because I was like, okay, they don't have Adam Sandler, a non-indigenous person, playing an Apache-like character. They've got him playing a white dude who was adopted by an Apache tribe. But then you meet the other characters, and they have names like his wife is Smoking Fox.
Oh, yeah, I've got them all written down right here, man. Yeah, we got Smoking Fox. And by the way, his girlfriend speaks in broken English with no accent.
Yeah, for no reason.
And then we got another one whose name is Never Wears Bra. Again, broken English, no accent.
Mm-hmm.
Really wants to bone White Knife.
Yeah.
And then there's the last name that we hear from one of them. One of them is called Raging Bear. One of the dudes is called Raging Bear. Why is he called Raging Bear while the other ones are Smoking Fox and Never Wears Bra?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last girl whose name we learn is named Beaver Breath.
Oh, yeah. Was that supposed to be a lesbian joke or a she doesn't brush her teeth joke?
I think it's a she doesn't brush her teeth joke, because at the end of the movie, she's shacking up with Lil Pete.
Okay.
Yeah, Beaver Breath becomes his girlfriend at the end of the movie, Lil Pete's girlfriend.
Okay.
And for all you guys wondering out there, Lil Pete is another one of White Knife's brothers. Turns out the 6 in Ridiculous 6 refers to all the brothers who are related in this movie. White Knife meets 5 different brothers throughout the course of the movie.
All of Nick Nolte's characters' bastard children.
Yep. They're all his half-brothers.
Yep.
So instead of, having one of his tribe mates pal around with him during his adventure at suggestion of his adopted father, because initially his adopted father suggests that, well, Raging Bear will go with you. He does a great impression of white people. And then he does.
Oh, yeah. And then what did he say?
Hey, guys.
Something about his chest hair.
Hey, guys, let's play with our chest hair and eat potato chips. And then he dances in the whitest way possible, thrusting his leg in either direction.
Doing like the lawnmower.
Yeah. I would have liked to see more of Raging Bear. Is that bad?
No. A lot of the people in that community were more interesting than the 6, because I don't know, they were more charming and less offensive, I guess.
It feels a lot less racist when they actually focus on the Native Americans instead of having Adam Sandler do all these weird mystical Native American tropes and stuff that he plays up.
Yes.
Like rolling like tumbleweed is one of them. He actually says at one point that there's no need to hide when you are friends with the wind. And then he turns into tumbleweed and rolls past some guards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then later on, that giant guy tries it, and he can't because he's not mystical.
Yeah, his brother, Herm, who is a literal hermit, a mountain man who can't really talk. He just communicates in grunts for some reason. He's not actually mute. He can grunt. It's weird.
Yeah. He's like, he's talking, but he's unintelligible. And at the end, they confirm that it's because he has fetal alcohol syndrome, which I don't think they had a word for back then. But he was like, "Oh man, your mama went heavy on the moonshine when she was pregnant with you."
Yeah, Nick Nolte's character Frank Stockburn said that to Herm when he met him. Initially, Herm was a little pissed off at that, but then he just quickly smiled and nodded along like, yeah.
Oh my, okay, you know what? Your impression just reminds me of who he sounds like. The Tasmanian Devil.
That's
right?
It's literally what Herm sounds like. He goes,
Yeah. And I was like, did he get his tongue cut out in a fight or something? Because, like them grisly old West injuries. But no. Like, you see it at different points in the movie. He doesn't have any kind of, physical injury or deformity or anything going on his face. It's like his mom either literally never taught him to talk, or they're implying that he's too intellectually disabled to learn how to speak, but not to learn how to whiskey and ride a horse and, I don't know, have sex and everything else.
They're real fast and loose with what skills and attributes they want to give these characters in terms of their intellectual capabilities. And Adam Sandler here likes to play with the jokes at the intellectual disability expense. And it's not just Herm that he does this to. He also does this with the character Lil Pete, played by Taylor Lautner of Twilight fame.
Yeah. And I would argue also he does it with Steve Zahn's character.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true, because Steve Zahn is a little gullible in this movie. What's his name? Clem? Yeah, Clem, the general store owner.
Yeah, they get him to cut out his one good eye that he can actually see out of, and then, it turns out that they conned him into it because, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, what happens is that Clem, after his confrontation with White Knife at the general store and getting a carrot impaled in his leg, decides he wants to join the Left Eye Gang, and God knows why, because they got their asses handed to them by White Knife too. But maybe they're the only gang around for the next, I don't know, 10-mile radius or whatever. So he wants to join up with these guys. And part of the initiation process for joining the Left Eye Gang is that you have to scoop out your left eye out of your head to show how devoted you are to being in the Left Eye Gang. And part of the gag here is that Clem, since his lazy eye doesn't work so great with one eye being scooped out of his head, turns out his good eye is on the side that has to be scooped out. Actually, the Left Eye Gang, I think that means that they see out of their left eye, they have to scoop out their right eye. Okay, so his good eye is on his right side, and he has to scoop it out, and his lazy eye is on the left side. And he's basically blind in that eye, more or less.
Yeah. And he's like, this one sees like an eagle. Are you sure I can't just do this one? And they're like, we're the Left Eye Gang. But then, like, at the end, when, I don't know, there was, like, some money or something, and the one guy goes to check the denomination, he lifts his patch up to see better. It's like, oh, my God!
Yeah, Will Forte's character...
Like, yeah.
Will Forte is in this movie, and he plays the leader of the Left Eye Gang. And Clem asks him if this $100 bill is still good, because part of it's been burned off. Because what happened during that scene is that the Ridiculous Six handed off some dynamite to the gang that Danny Trejo's character Cicero leads. And as part of that, he wanted to blow them up, because they took away his father and they were planning on getting back at them that way instead of giving them all the money. Because the purpose of the Ridiculous Six here, what their quest was, is they had to go get $50,000 to keep their father out of trouble, because this gang wanted $50,000 in exchange for their father.
Right. And, shoot, where should I go with that?
And Clem decides, he wants this money because he found some dollar bills just hanging around. He asked Will Forte's character, Will Patch is his name. All these characters are part of the Left Eye Gang. Their last name isn't really a last name. It just ends with Patch. So you got Will Patch and Babyface Patch and Stumbles Patch and Gus Patch. All that stuff. And when he shows the dollar bill, Clem shows the dollar bill to Will Patch. Will Patch lifts up the patch on his right eye and looks at it with both eyes and says, it still looks good. And Clem notices, you didn't even scoop your eye out, did you?
Yeah.
Turns out none of them did. This guy was just dumb enough to actually do it.
Yeah, it was terrible. And, like, they had a really long, uncomfortable scene where they showed him scooping out his eyeball, and it was, like, dangling from his face. And then instead of even then just having him cut the string, he's got to pull it.
Oh, like, my God.
Disgusting.
And they didn't actually show any of it per se. What they did was that they showed the shadow on the wall doing it. And it was the weirdest looking shadow, because it looked like some hunchback ogre that was actually a puppet dangling by a string doing it. It didn't look like Steve Zahn at all.
It was disgusting nonetheless. And then you had him like vocally narrating the entire thing.
Yeah.
And complete with like the uncomfortable moaning and the screaming, and like it was I didn't like it. It didn't play funny to me. I didn't like it at all.
It wasn't funny. At best, it would have been black comedy, but it went on for so long and it was so gruesome that it stopped being funny at all. It was just really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then it got extra uncomfortable at the end when you realized that they made him do that when none of them had actually gone through it. But after they're like, oh, it only hurts for a second or 100 seconds, like, that would have played a little bit funny if, like, they had been talking from experience because they're all dumb enough to scoop their eyeball out. But no, they were just preying on him.
Yeah. The twist didn't play so well. It felt really gross. I felt like that if they were going to do it, it would have been nice if they committed to the bit, and maybe one of them hadn't gone through it, like the leader hadn't gone through it with it, and then the rest of them had.
Yeah, like a regular cult.
Yeah, that would have been actually funny if just like the leader had not scooped out one of his eyes and the rest of them had, and then they would have turned on him and beat the tar out of him or something.
Yeah.
But instead, poor Clem here gets screwed over.
Yeah, and it was just mean.
Yeah. There's a couple of times in this movie where that happens, and it's really uncomfortable what they show in terms of violence. Because one of these trends in movies and comedy and TV shows these days is that they use violence to elicit a reaction out of you, and it's not really funny. It's more like a nervous laugh type thing, like, oh wow, this is this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For instance, you got a saloon owner whose name is Smiley, played by Harvey Keitel. And he goes through his saloon late at night because the Ridiculous Six is planning on robbing him. And part of the plan is that White Knife creates a distraction, and it's hard to describe the distraction because it doesn't make a lot of sense. What happens is he kind of turns Smiley's saloon into sort of a haunted house. And how? I don't know. I guess it's just some mystical shit. Because what happens is Smiley starts hearing voices from like friends and family and all that stuff. And then at one point he even sees a dummy in a rocking chair, like what's his name from Goosebumps? Slappy? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what relevance it has. In fact, I think this haunted saloon might have made a more compelling movie.
It would have. That and one other scene in this movie would have made more compelling movies.
Yeah.
Well, also that Raging Bear. But the other one I think that would have was the baseball scene.
Yeah. But what happens at the end of the saloon scene, the haunted saloon scene, is that Smiley goes outside and encounters he confronts the Ridiculous Six with a couple of revolvers, and he's ready to blow all of them away until Ramon, the brother that White Knife encounters after he meets an old hooker that his dad used to sleep with. Ramon has a burro that he rides in on with a shovel, and he decapitates Smiley. And then, Smiley's decapitated body is just shooting his gun toward the sky while Smiley's head is just rolling around the ground, still smiling.
Yep, that was weird. That was a little bit funny.
It was a little bit funny, but it was still also a little uncomfortable, too.
It was extremely uncomfortable. It was only a little bit funny because it was so unexpected. And they killed, like, the more compelling villain that quickly.
That's the real tragedy here, is that Harvey Keitel was so much more compelling of a villain than anybody else in the movie. This guy should have been the focus of the movie. He should have been the big bad.
Right? Yeah. As much as I love Danny Trejo, he was not the most compelling villain in this.
And neither was Nick Nolte, who, by the way, spoiler, turns out to be the big bad of the movie. Their dad.
Yes, turns out the man who sires and abandons 6 children is not a good dude.
Yeah, and he tricks these 6 people. Well, actually, he just tricks his one son, White Knife, because he doesn't know about the other 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
And then White Knife, after he recruits the other 5, they go out and they wrangle up $50,000 twice. So they have $100,000. And so dear old dad wants him to hand over all that money. He's proud that they did it twice. Are these my boys or what? He says. Yeah.
And I don't even remember. I don't even think he offered to be like, wow, you guys are really good at this. Join up with me. He's just like, give me the money, you dumb shits.
Yeah, he like very briefly suggests that they should join up and join forces. And then they just kind of shrug it off, and he says, well, that was very stupid of you. And, you know, Nick Nolte's character here, well, just Nick Nolte himself, sounds less like he's talking and more like he's trying to choke out words and not die doing it.
Right? Man, sounds like a TV ad for lung cancer.
He sounds like he gargled with rocks and then washed it down with gasoline.
Yeah.
What is going on with Nick Nolte's voice?
I don't know. Was that just for the movie, or is that how he sounds?
That's how he sounds now. That's how he's sounded in multiple films now.
How many packs a day has he been smoking since he was 10?
Oh, God, I don't know. He has a long reputation as a hard drinker, and that does no favors to your voice, let me clue you.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's well, I don't know if he's still a hard drinker, but he drank a lot, and I'm pretty sure he's also an avid smoker.
Let's say that's smoker voice, so that, like, the drinking won't help, but it won't do that.
Yeah.
Not itself.
I think for Nick Nolte, it's just a whole lot of poor life decisions on his part that's ruining his voice.
Yeah.
Or I should say ruined. We're past ruining.
Yeah.
Good
In another
Lord,
10
Nick.
years, that's what Kid Rock will sound like.
What really kicks me is that he's got an 11-year-old kid now.
Nick Nolte?
Yeah, he's got he had a kid not that long ago.
Jesus.
Well, I think she's 13 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had a kid at 66.
Jesus. Men. Give me the confidence of a man. There is a man who knows he is not the one who will be chasing after an infant or a toddler.
And now he has to deal with a teenager at age 79. Good luck with that one, Nick. I thought that Harvey Keitel would have been a better villain, honestly. Nick Nolte is okay in this film, but he doesn't really come across as evil. You don't even know that he's the bad guy until the very end of the movie.
No.
By which time the Left Eye gang has turned face. They've turned into good guys because the Ridiculous Six freed them over by the big, what is it called? The Sweet Hog Rock that they were looking for.
Yeah.
That was supposed to lead them toward, what's his name? Nick Nolte's character is Frank Stockburn. God, I can't remember that name hardly. Frank Stockburn's biggest score. They're looking for his biggest score because they want to get more money.
Yeah. It was all bad. And I feel like that was supposed to be a dick joke, but The Rock didn't look enough like a dick for that joke to land.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it. I guess it looked kind of like a dick. The characters were fawning over it like, wow, that's a sweet hog. And then they're all really impressed by it. But then Chico, played by Terry Crews, one of the more talented comedians these days, who doesn't get anywhere near enough credit for how good he is at what he does, always playing bit parts and stuff. He looks at The Rock and says, it's all right. He's not that impressed.
We just have...
And why would he be impressed for a man who can play the piano with his dick?
Right. Yeah, can we just get a second for Terry Crews appreciation? Because I haven't seen facial expressions that, like, diverse and captivating since the days of Kelsey Grammer playing Frasier.
Terry Crews has every reason to play a leading man. And why is he playing all these bit parts and all these ridiculous pieces of garbage?
Don't know.
He's a handsome man. He's jacked. He's funny. He can do a little bit of drama here and there. He's done The Expendables. So why isn't he a leading man in some of his own movies? He can carry a movie, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason.
I thought he could too.
There's no reason for him to be the side man.
Mm-hmm. It ain't right.
I think that he just needs the right project, honestly.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the funniest people working right now, and he's not getting anywhere near enough credit.
Mm-hmm.
So, what the hell, Hollywood?
I wholeheartedly agree. We need more Terry Crews.
At first, you think that Chico is just bullshitting about being able to play the piano with his dick, until you get a view of Smoking Fox and White Knife's wedding, where he does have a piano on hand, and guess what he's playing it with at the most inappropriate time?
Yes. Apparently it's no big thing, though. And he even sang a song about, like, when he gets to know his dad, they're gonna bond and play the piano with their dicks together.
Why is he so obsessed with playing the piano with his dick?
I don't know, but male nudity wasn't, I don't know, like, nudity was a little bit different back then.
Gives a whole new meaning.
Dicks were still dicks, but men, I think, pulled them out in public a lot more than they do now.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It really gives a whole new meaning to the phrase tickle the ivories that Frank Stockburn brings up.
Oh, God.
That's what he says to Chico when he first meets him at the end of the movie, near the end of the movie, when Frank Stockburn is meeting all of his other children for the first time. And he says to Chico, I've been known to tickle the ivories myself. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, and I think he might have meant that way, too. I wonder. The weird thing about Frank Stockburn is they didn't make him ridiculous like the other ones. Like, he's just a regular prolific thief, but he doesn't have, like, any weird quirks other than that he's a womanizer, which, surprise, surprise, a lot of them are.
What really got me is that... What really got me is that the last half hour of this movie about really wasn't that ridiculous. There were maybe a few moments, but it was remarkably level-headed for the last half hour while White Knife was trying to get Smoking Fox back from Stockburn's gang after they had kidnapped her, because she escaped from the Left Eye gang after they kidnapped her. What happened was that Clem, because he's blind, was keeping an eye on her, but since he's half blind, he wasn't keeping an eye on her all that well, and she was able to just get on a horse and ride away. And she came across Stockburn's gang and tried to free him because she thought that he was not really part of their gang, but turns out he was, and so they captured her. And they brought her out at the very end to threaten White Knife with. And Frank Stockburn threatens to kill her if they don't give his gang all the money.
Yeah. And it's like they could have done him, I guess, kind of like a straight guy if they'd have made the other people in the gang funny. But they didn't do that either. But like literally every other chunk of people in here is like at least supposed to be funny. Like the Left Eye gang is ridiculous. The Ridiculous Six is titularly ridiculous.
Yeah, they're very silly, actually.
Frank Stockburn's gang, not silly at all. And even like Danny Trejo and like his, people, like they weren't funny. And he's been in like some funny fucking movies. Yeah. So it's not like he can't do comedy. Like, missed opportunity.
See, I feel like they were going for a Blazing Saddles type movie, but Blazing Saddles was much funnier and much more ridiculous. Every character had some funny thing going on. There was never a dull moment in that movie. But here, there's so many dull moments, and so many characters fall so flat, and they have no punchlines and no jokes to go along with them. Like, there's so much you could have done with Frank Stockburn and Cicero. You could have just cut them out entirely, maybe, and done something with Smiley. Maybe Smiley could have been the impetus for the movie.
Yeah, but they didn't do any of that. And then it's like for the last, like you said, 30 minutes in the movie, the Ridiculous Six has nobody to bounce their silliness off of. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of why it falls flat.
Last half hour, I was just kind of bored.
Yeah. They took the funny gang and made them flip too early.
For a lot of this movie, I thought there was a few points where they could have really cut some stuff out because this movie was 2 hours long. And there was really no reason for it to be 2 hours long.
Yeah.
For instance, there was a whole skit that lasted for about 8 minutes or so where they're going on about the creation of baseball featuring Abner Doubleday, a bunch of what I think are Chinese people or something, and then the Ridiculous Six themselves. And they're literally just inventing baseball on the fly. And that could have been a whole movie all by itself because this was actually one of the funnier things in the movie.
Oh, I would argue that it was the single funniest scene in the entire movie.
And
especially if you know the rules of baseball, it's hilarious.
And you know what? A lot of credit for this scene needs to go to John Turturro, who played Abner Doubleday. John Turturro is a very well-established actor, by the way. He's been in a bunch of Coen Brothers movies. He's done all kinds of drama movies. He was in Secret Window with Johnny Depp. His dramatic pedigree is so good. And then he started doing movies with Adam Sandler, which, was neither here nor there. Guy's got to make a buck, and so he's part of Adam Sandler's clique now. Okay. And he carries this entire scene so delightfully. He is so funny. He's so much funnier than Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Why the hell isn't John Turturro in his own movie?
I don't know. I don't know. That would have been a funnier movie, though.
Can we get John Turturro and Terry Crews in the same movie, please?
Yes! Them inventing baseball and being on opposite sides of the first baseball tournament, making up the rules as they go.
Get John Turturro, Terry Crews in the same movie. Make Harvey Keitel the villain. We've got a winner, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a recipe for money.
Yeah, way more compelling, way funnier. You even could have had a scene where okay, now you're gonna make rules about how they've got to wear uniforms. Then the uniforms could come in, and Terry Crews obviously wouldn't fit.
It's a well-timed, tested Terry Crews joke. Oops! Oh no! Not another one. His suit rips because he's so jacked.
Yup. And since he plays the piano with his dick, they even could have had a thing where the cup comes in and doesn't fit.
The cup comes in, doesn't fit. He tries to play he tries playing out different songs with his dick, and it turns out that "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is the best one.
Oh my God! See, that would have been hilarious.
Look at us. We're writing a better movie, guys. It's happening.
Could have been a whole thing about why Peanuts and Cracker Jacks became the snack there. I don't know where the joke would be, but there would be one there.
I mean, you could think of something I got nothing off the top of my head, but there's lots of potential in a movie like that.
Yeah. You stick a bunch of comedy writers in a room together and they'd find a reason. But it would have been a way funnier movie.
Yeah.
For the more unique premise.
For the movie they were making, they really should have just cut this scene out, even though it was the funniest scene in the whole movie, because it didn't really add anything to the movie.
Yeah. It would have done better on its own somewhere else, where it was the star instead of being, resignated to being a side, piece to fluff out 20 extra minutes in a movie that isn't worth it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just confused by a lot of aspects of this movie like that, where they make decisions that the movie would have been better without.
Mm-hmm. It's like they tried to do a little bit of a Forrest Gump thing where you travel around and you're accidentally there for the creation of a bunch of pop culture iconic things.
Yeah.
But they only did the one thing and then they forgot about it.
You know what other character was infinitely more interesting than the characters that we got to see? Was Steve Buscemi's barber / doctor, / veterinarian.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Him and his ointment that he would put on, like, the horse's butt.
Yeah.
And then in Lil Pete's mouth. And then he'd use it on his chapped lips. He'd use it on your, to grease up your face for a shave. You nasty bastard.
Yeah, so keep that in mind here. What Steve Buscemi's character is he's a master of all trades here. He's the dentist who pulls out Lil Pete's tooth because I guess he's got a toothache of some kind. And then he's lathering up a guy for a shave because he's also the barber. But he's also the doctor because he's examining Herm and seeing a big rash that he rubs this ointment from a giant canister all over. And then he rubs the ointment again, takes a little bit more of it, rubs it on the wound inside Lil Pete's mouth and says, I'll keep it from getting infected.
Yeah, disgusting.
And then he rubs it on Ramon, the burrow-owning brother's face, because he's going to give him a shave. And then he asks White Knife if he wants any ointment. And then when White Knife says he's good, the barber / veterinarian / doctor rubs the balm that he's just used on all three of these guys on his lips as a lip balm.
Yeah, nasty.
And then he smiles. And then later he uses the same ointment to glue Smiley's decapitated head back on while he's talking to the Left Eye gang.
Yeah, it looks like his old Western duct tape. Good for everything.
I would have liked to see a movie with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, also a more compelling character. I would agree with you there. I would watch a movie with him.
Take the baseball bits, combine them with the barber bits, and make a movie out of that somehow, guys.
Oh, God, the baseball people, during their first tournament, they go into town, and this guy's the only Dr. Barber surgeon.
Yes.
He's the only hooker doctor lawyer in town.
It's glorious.
He might have been the most historically accurate character portrayal in this movie, too.
That's kind of scary.
Right? Because your barber surgeons were definitely a thing.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And they had no concept of hygiene.
Definitely not, then. They played it pretty fast and loose, then. Amazing how far medical science has progressed in the past 150 years about.
Yeah. Like, I'm not sure they would have gone ass to mouth. But they definitely weren't hand washers.
No. It's about the time that people learned that you need to wash your hands before surgery that people started living more.
Yes. There was a whole battle with this OBGYN who was trying to tell people, like, man, when you're helping women give birth, you really need to wash your hands before you put them up in their torn up vagina. And these men were like, wash my hands? Her filthy vagina is going to contaminate me. Okay. But you're going to give her blood poisoning, and also there's an infant. It's a whole thing. Once they started washing hands before they started delivering babies, infant mortality went down, and so did maternal mortality.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid that piece of progress wouldn't come for another 50 years. So,
Man.
Dr. Barber, dentist boy, still has 50 years to use all the ointment he can get his hands on.
2-for-1 ass to mouth ointment. Come today.
You better hope that's a miracle ointment there, guy. Right. Well, I think now's about the time for us to go to our reviews that we've culled from Rotten Tomatoes this time around, because this is a Netflix movie and you can't get Netflix movies on Amazon.
All right.
So, as always, we've culled 3 5-star reviews and 3 1-star reviews. And we always start with the 5-star reviews. So what say we go ahead and see what Michael here has to say. He says,
Okay.
you know what's both ridiculous and rotten? Rotten Tomatoes. 0%. Give me a break. I think Rotten Tomatoes is so biased with people that are wannabe critics that proverbial stick up their butts that I don't use it as a serious source to gauge movies or, quote, films, unquote, as pompous assholes say anymore. He thinks films is what pompous assholes say?
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Moving on. I think The Ridiculous Six was more watchable than either Wrinkle in Time, deserves 1 out of 5 for crap story and delivery, or I Kill Giants, which isn't engaging or surprising at the end whatsoever. The problem is people give children and family, and not to mention indie movies, way too much credit. That, and there's way too much focus on indie movies with all those hipster fanboys around. Get off your soapbox, get a real job, and take entertainment for what it is. Entertainment. God forbid you laugh and live a little. If you're a tight ass and you don't understand the extremism of parody, and you're of the modern persuasion that's offended by like every fucking thing, then this isn't the movie for you. And no, it doesn't deserve 5 stars, but it deserves more than it's gotten. Jeez.
Gee. Why are these people so angry?
I don't know. It's just a dumbass Adam Sandler movie. It's very obviously not as good as his older stuff.
These people are super ready to die on the hill of the Ridiculous Six. They're pulling out their weapons at the top of the hill like White Knife was laying them on that motel bed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a whole segment where he was pulling out an entire arsenal that he had on his person, including a sword on his back that he somehow concealed.
Yeah, like a whole broadsword.
Like a sword that you have to wonder, how did he tear apart the wagon that he rode into town on? How does he ride on a horse with that sword on his back? And why do we never see that sword ever again?
Yeah.
It's just there as a punchline for one scene only. God damn it.
That's a lot of this movie, though. It like brings things up, and then, I don't know, it's like one night stand of jokes.
Yeah.
He uses them once and then puts them away.
That's the thing about Adam Sandler's humor is that it just thinks of a joke, says it, doesn't come back to it at all later, even though it would be a good idea to come back to it because, you throw down the smoking gun in the previous scene is probably a good idea to use it later on because that's good screenwriting.
Yeah.
Even comedy movies got to be written well, guy. You can't just throw everything at the wall and then never come back to it ever again.
Right. I don't know.
That's how you get a disjointed mess.
Yes.
Anyway, our next review comes from Darth, who says, right, I must be one of the only people who like this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. And in my opinion, the comedy, while being immature and slightly offensive, is exactly my kind of humor. And I think that it is done really well. People need to stop taking the jokes too seriously and reading into them if they think they're too offensive. Because to be brutally honest, you're going to have a bad time if you're offended by this movie. I've said my piece. Don't at me.
Jeez. Why are they so mad?
I don't know.
Doing this?
These are the people willing to lay down their lives for a movie like That's My Boy.
My God.
Why are they so passionate about the ridiculous sex? I don't get it.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm dying here. Okay, our next one is from Aiden, who says, I'm only giving this movie a 5-star rating because most of the people who have rated for some reason can't understand the irony in the movie.
my God.
If I were to really rate it, I would give it a negative 20 stars. And that is the beauty of this movie. It is so bad it's good. And to all the people who said that they stopped watching 30 minutes in, watch the full time through and you will appreciate it. Everyone who calls the movie racist is wrong. 1, all the racist people are bad guys. And 2, all the racist jokes are clearly meant as satire to point out how dumb racism is. You guys just couldn't take off your oppression glasses and appreciate a stupidly good movie. When it comes to the actual substance of the movie, the writing is lazy and the acting is a little off. But that's the point. It's a ridiculous feel-good movie that you watch not because of the drama or whatever. You watch it because it makes you laugh in a really dumb way. The movie is so bad, it's good. If I could choose 2 quotes to sum up the entire movie, they would be, I can play the piano with my dick, and that was some seriously mystical shit.
Oh my God.
People willing to lay down their life for the ridiculous things, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Really are. This is ridiculous. Are you proud of this, Adam Sandler? Look what you brought.
The people defending this movie are more ridiculous than the movie was.
Also, can I just point out that if you Google the Ridiculous Six, some of the first, your people also ask, is the Ridiculous Six funny? What is baseball called? Who really invented baseball? How did baseball get invented?
People are curious about baseball.
Yes. Baseball is obviously the best part of this dumbass movie.
So it's pretty obvious because of all the baseball questions, they really bet on the wrong horse here.
Yes. But also I love that the first search result quest, people also ask, is the Ridiculous Six funny?
Yeah, I love that question. Goddamn, guys, that's ice cold. All right, so our next review are the 1-star reviews actually now. So we're going to go to TA with our first 1-star review, who says, I'm starting to believe the only reason I enjoyed Adam Sandler movies in the 90s is because I was a child and didn't know better. This and all his other movies sucked and are forgettable. I keep watching and hope he finally does something funny again, but no movie after movie is just stupid, obnoxious behavior. Adam, you made enough money. It's time to retire.
Did you write that review?
No, I did not. I don't write reviews. I just, record myself yakking about them and bitching, moaning, crying about how bad they are. All the day's work.
That sounds like that could have been written by you.
Does it? Yeah, I didn't write that one. I've never written a review on Rotten Tomatoes. In fact, I've never really written a review anywhere.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I've never written a review anywhere. Okay, so our next review comes from Michael, who says, one of the worst movies I have ever seen, and then again, Adam Sandler is the worst actor ever. He has no idea how to make people laugh at all, and himself is about as comedic as a 20-day-old corpse. I take that back, as the corpse would have more animation in its feature film than him. Make that a year-old one instead. I had to sit through this garbage just to please my son who wanted to watch it, but to tell the truth, I managed to escape after an hour, then God. What? That didn't make any sense.
In an hour and then what?
An hour, then God. That's how the review ended.
Oh. He managed to escape for an hour and then the boogeyman got him.
Oh, is that what happened here? He got cut off because he just got grabbed by the boogeyman? All right. That sounds plausible. That sounds reasonable, actually.
Yeah.
Well, let's try to move past that review, I guess, and then go straight to our last 1-star review, who comes from Garen. 0 stars. Now, Sandler is going to insult the Western genre with his latest anti-masterpiece. It appears that this movie was written on the wall of a McDonald's bathroom with a crayon instead of on paper with a pen in a mansion. Somehow they got the all-star cast. Plausible stories, all. Reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, everyone.
Damn. Lots of angry people today.
I felt like the 1 stars could have been more savage, but the 5 stars had this righteous indignation about them that people were not enjoying a bad Adam Sandler movie.
Right. Those are some people who call people chads.
Oh, God. I don't even want to think about those kinds of people. See, I kind of like Adam Sandler movies sometimes, like I've said already. In fact, I think the latest one he did with Jennifer Aniston was actually a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. We watched it. I think we had fun.
It was fun. You also have a thing for Jennifer Aniston.
Well, she's
so
beautiful. Well, Jennifer Aniston is beautiful and she's talented, so sue me.
Yes. Oh, no, I don't have a problem with it. I just think that also helps your review of that movie.
I think that Jennifer Aniston keeps Adam Sandler on a shorter leash than he would be on otherwise because she's kind of more higher profile than he is, I think.
She's more of a professional.
Yeah. And I think he acts like more of a professional on a movie set than he would otherwise if she wasn't there.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I suspect that's why the 2 movies that he's done with her are 2 of his better movies.
Yeah. And it's not like she's never done like a comedy movie before. Like, well, yeah. You know, I mean, she built her career on comedy.
Yeah, I know.
So
comedy is kind of what she does.
Yeah, like it's not like she needs him.
Right.
So I agree. She keeps him on his toes.
She's not really a dramatic actress at all.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen her in anything more dramatic than Leprechaun.
Yeah, I don't know. Was Rumor Has It a comedy or a drama?
Don't know. Never saw it. I think it's a comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't recall her ever being in anything. Well, she was in Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, and that was not a comedy. That was more of a drama. Okay, so sometimes she does drama, but just not often.
Yeah.
All right.
Comedy, I think she shines.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's no shame in knowing what you're good at.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little disappointed that nobody trashed Adam Sandler in the 1 star. I was kind of thinking this would be a primo opportunity to come across one of those reviews where they just tear into the actor. Those are some of the funniest.
You know, we've come across a couple of those. We've come across one that tore into Nicolas Cage, and we've come into one that tore into Tim Allen.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah. There was a review we read for Christmas with the Cranks a while back that just tore into Tim Allen harder than you possibly could have imagined. He ripped Tim Allen to shreds, this guy did.
Yup.
You actually felt bad for Tim Allen at the end of it.
I really did. Like, what did Tim Allen do to you? Like, was this review written by the guy that Tim Allen snitched on to get out of prison?
Did he shit on this guy's porch or something? Why is he writing such mean things about him?
It was hilarious.
It was some funny shit, don't get me wrong, but goddamn. I don't know if Tim Allen deserves all this.
Yeah, you felt bad for him at the end.
Yeah. Did we learn anything from the Ridiculous Six?
Yeah, we learned swinging from a noose isn't funny.
Yeah. Lil Pete has a strong neck, he says, because his mama makes him pull the plow by his neck, which is a little disturbing to hear. And then as a distraction, he motorboats, quote, slash sexually assaults the mayor's wife. And then the town decides to hang him. And instead of actually getting hanged or anything, he does get hanged, but he kind of plays around with it because he's got a strong neck and doesn't die or anything. He just starts swinging around and makes a big punchline out of the whole situation. Yeah.
So now you've got both hanging humor, which is really not funny no matter how you try to play it. Like, especially America has a really dark history behind hanging people, and in particular people of color. And it's not a good look. Mm-hmm. And then also, like, it's piggybacked off the joke of, physically abusing your disabled child.
Yeah, that's where Adam Sandler's humor tends to go a lot of the time. And he's writing movies here like it's still 1995 and this kind of thing still plays as well as it did back then. Whereas in 2015, when this movie was made, it just didn't play quite the same as it did 20 years prior.
Right?
When you saw this kind of joke now, you cringe. It's cringe on film.
Yeah, especially now that you've got, like, remember that case, like, last year, maybe a couple of years ago, where that kid escaped from her family's house, and it turns out she had all those siblings there that were being, like, kept in the basement, and they'd have to do, like, calisthenics in the yard in their underwear, and all kinds of terrible things.
Okay. I had not heard about that, no.
It's bad. I'm surprised you didn't hear about that. It was all over the news.
What can I say? I don't keep a mental track record of every little thing that happens.
She had a YouTube account. I think that's part of how she prosecuted them, was like there was evidence that because they were looking at her size in the videos, because everybody thought she was like 12, but she was like 16 or 17 something. They were all really malnourished.
Oh, I don't know.
Their dog, well fed.
Yeah, I really don't remember.
Neighbors and everything.
Don't remember any of it.
Anyway, reasons like that are, things coming out in the news that, like, that kind of thing is actually more common than we'd like to admit, are part of why that joke does not play funny.
Adam Sandler, everybody. Punching down since 1989.
Right?
Well, about then. Oh, well, what did I learn from this movie? I guess I learned that you can tickle ivories with your penis and it won't tickle back.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Kind of wonder if you're going to catch something pounding, piano keys with your penis. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Oh.
I have to imagine you might get some kind of contact dermatitis with all the other people playing around with the keys like that.
You get some bruising on your dick pounding on the keys like that with it.
You're gonna chafe, man.
None of those women caught something, considering how many people Frank Stockburn was having sex with.
Frank Stockburn really wasn't fond of condoms.
Right?
He wasn't even fond of pulling out, apparently.
Right.
Was pulling out even a modern science then? Or was it just kind of a mythical thing that you thought happened but didn't really happen?
No, I think people knew about that. That's called the rhythm method. I don't know what they called it back then, but by then they figured out if men didn't quite understand, women definitely did, because prostitution has been a thing sex work, has been a thing forever, and they knew how to, minimize their chances of having a baby. So certainly it was understood. It might not have been like mainstream knowledge, but people knew.
All right. Well, I stand corrected then. So, Frank Stockburn, you're just a big old dummy.
Yeah. There's a man who just does not care. He doesn't care for coitus interruptus.
He is a man who just wanted to have a lot of kids and didn't care how he did it.
No, obviously he understood that he wasn't going to be in town by the time they came around.
And he made damn sure of that, didn't he?
Right? I love, though, that he knew exactly how he behaved. So when 5 other people come up to him like, hey, I'm your child, he's just like, okay.
He's like, oh, well, I can't say I'm all that surprised by this, so this is definitely true and not a ruse.
Right? He doesn't dispute it even a little bit, even though it's a real motley crew coming up to him like, we're your offspring. And he's like, that looks about right.
Yeah, I think it's because he knows he's not going to have to pay any paternity or anything.
Yeah. Child support, I don't think was a legal obligation back then.
Ah, the good old days.
That did not exist.
Ah.
But I think pulling out was a known thing.
All right, so I have learned that pulling out was a thing, and Frank Stockburn didn't have any of that.
No, he wasn't having none of that.
Going all the way.
So,
Oh, yeah.
He'll pull out of the bank, but not your pussy.
Boom. Did we learn anything else from this stupid movie?
We learned that sometimes you've got to choose whether you want to torture somebody or kill them, because if you just leave them buried up to their neck, they might not die.
In fact, somebody might come along and free them, and then your plans will be foiled.
Yeah, they might make them turn away from their life of crime.
Does anyone really think the Left Eye Gang is going to turn away from their life of crime? They already got what they wanted. Who cares?
I mean, God, that was another gross scene. This lizard crawled up this guy's nose while he's buried. The other guy had ants on his face. It was unnecessarily gross.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those scenes where it didn't play as funny as they thought it did, kind of like the decapitation scene, or the Lil Pete hanging scene, or what was the other scene we were talking about? Oh yeah, the scene where Clem scooped the eye out of his head.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what movie actually did a good job with that burying you up to your neck scene?
What?
Shanghai Noon.
Oh yeah, another movie that is infinitely funnier than this one.
Where Jackie Chan gets to Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson's buried up to his neck in the sand. And he's like, you gave me bad directions. He goes, no, I gave you wrong directions. And he's like, can you dig me out? And he leaves him with some chopsticks. He's using his mouth trying to dig, like, use the chopsticks like a shovel. And it's hilarious.
See, there's a way to play these kinds of things well. You can't just play them straight like this. You gotta introduce some absurdity into the situation and make it fun.
Yeah, and also it wasn't gross. He wasn't like horribly blistered and there weren't bugs crawling on him and things crawling up his nose. It was comedy. It wasn't like gross out.
Yeah, you gotta take some liberties with this kind of stuff. Would that happen in real life? Yeah, probably. Do you need to see it in a comedy movie? No, not so much.
Yeah.
Somehow I think that Adam Sandler probably thought this is a lot funnier than it actually turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the way it goes with a lot of his movies like that.
Especially the recent ones. It's just, I don't know, you get to a point where you're too famous and people are afraid to tell you no.
What I think of it as when I see this kind of thing is kind of like the Family Guy effect, you know? Because Family Guy does a lot of this kind of stuff where they'll introduce violence as a means of comedy, but then once you actually see it play out, it's not funny. Because you'll see things like people shooting themselves, committing suicide and stuff like that, or people getting hurt in some way or another, and that's somehow supposed to be a joke. But I'm not seeing it. It's not funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't even play it as funny. They just played it straight and the person just got hurt. Where's the punchline? Is the punchline supposed to be that they got hurt? Because that sucks.
Right?
Yeah. Life lessons from the Ridiculous Six, everyone.
Hey.
I guess we learned some things. I mean, there's only so much you can learn from this. Apparently, you can hide a knife on your back, a whole ass sword on your back, too, and just keep it there for the rest of the movie, and no one's going to raise an eyebrow when you only use knives for the entire plot.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Well, he's white knife, not white sword.
I guess the sword is only for emergencies, so maybe White Knife never really had a big emergency during this film. Maybe he had it easy the whole time. Maybe he didn't really struggle.
I feel like they violated the rules of if you show a gun in the first act, it needs to go off in the third.
Of course they
showed
did.
a sword in the first act, and he never used it.
Nope. And that's what it really gets me when they do stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, what's your final rating for this movie, do you think?
1 human tumbleweed, 6 dumbasses, and an extra bag of gold.
I give this movie a dusty jug of moonshine, a tainted piano key, and a headless Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also give me a big old bucket of that there lip balm.
Yeah, you nasty.
All right. So yeah, man, this movie wasn't all that great. It's not the worst movie ever, so if you want to watch it, it might make you laugh in a few instances, but my big thing is that it just goes on way too long. And there's a few scenes in there that feel really unnecessary, and then there's also a lot of stuff that's played as humor, but it's not really funny. It just comes off as malicious and kind of violent at times.
Yeah.
What's your 2 cents on this one?
I would agree. I'm not a big fan of gratuitous violence, and I really don't like gore. So I'm ambivalent. I'm going to say go ahead and watch it, but be prepared that it's unnecessarily gross and also kind of racist.
Yeah, that too.
If those are things that you can stomach, go ahead. You're not really going to gain anything from watching it, but if you've got like a whole Adam Sandler collection, you're not really going to hurt yourself by adding it into your brain bank, I guess.
Your brain bank. Okay. I'll just come over here with my smart trunks and do my own thing, thank you.
Hey! You just freaky me.
Yeah. Get your thoughts and your thunks straight.
I mean, you understood what I meant.
Yes, I understood what you meant, and it was very silly.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I'm sorry. We're filming at midnight. Hi, world. I have a brain bank. It's my library index of everything I've ever encountered with my eyeballs and my earballs.
Pardon me while I ready my fart gun.
Ew.
Well, that's our 2 cents on this one, guys. So go ahead and watch your Ridiculous Six if you feel like it. But if you don't, you're not really going to miss anything. Next time on An Unfortunate Case of Movie, we've decided that we're going to watch Jupiter Ascending with Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum, directed by the Wachowski siblings.
And if we're lucky, we will at least see one or both of them shirtless.
Hopefully. Oh, man, naked Mila Kunis, that'd be pretty awesome.
Right?
Man, I would not say no to that. Oh, yeah, now I'm looking forward to this movie. All right. Even though I know this movie is going to be bad.
Looks like it has to.
I don't know how bad, though.
Nothing else. It looks like it has some cool fashion, though. I'll enjoy.
Yeah. Supposedly, this movie just completely ruined the careers of the Wachowski siblings.
Ouch. Ouch.
Because they already had a bomb after Cloud Atlas because that movie didn't do well. And then this one bankrupted their company.
That sucks. I actually really liked Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I didn't hate it. I don't know why he got such a bad rap, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Well, anyway, soulmates, really hope you enjoyed listening to us this time around, and I hope you join us next time for Jupiter Ascending. If you want to check out Astrid's Twitter handle, you can follow her at Angry Astrid. She occasionally posts screenshots of all the movies we watch and with accompanying comments, and I retweet them on our main account at Case of Movie on Twitter. Full name, An Unfortunate Case of Movie, but we can find our handle at Case of Movie. And if you want to follow my personal account, where I just do a lot of, random nonsense, you can follow me at SoulKeever. But for the main account, go ahead and follow us at Case of Movie.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you want to listen to any of our other podcasts, you can always find us on Spotify.
And you should.
You absolutely should. Well, until next time, everyone, we hope you enjoy this movie to some extent. Then we hope you enjoy Jupiter Ascending, and we hope you join us for that one. We'll see you soon, everybody. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.